what the fuck are they doing over there in Cincinnati
Right.
to where these guys are able to come out here on Sunday and be like this?
They put me in all 4th downs. I'm going up against Orlando Brown Jr. You don't think I can get back?
Nah, bro, dog. I'm pulling. I'm like, man, it's a 5'10" corner. What the hell?
Right.
Fuck this dude gonna do to me? Man, he hit me so hard. We're gonna win this fucking Super Bowl. They know you're gonna see 75 from the Cincinnati Bengals one-on-one 45 times in the game in pass protection. You know, let's see what the fuck we got.
All right, so we're back for another episode of the Sit Down with Malik Wright. This time featuring starting Cincinnati Bengals left tackle and Super Bowl champion Orlando Brown. It's a pleasure, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, dog.
Yes, sir. So it's crazy how this all came about, man. We talked in New Orleans about doing a show. Obviously, you know, we were on Super Bowl Radio Row, so everything was sort of rushed. So we didn't get a chance to spend a lot of time talking together, man. But I appreciate the fact that we were able to make this happen. You didn't forget about me. So.
Oh, yeah, no, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, I like what you represent. You know what I mean? I respect all your work that you put in. And believe it or not, as players, we see it all. So I like the things you do. So,
hey, man, I appreciate that. You know, sometimes people say, oh, man, you too hard on the team or something like that. Man, I just try to be real. I try to be real, try to be real as possible. But on this show, you guys know on the Sit Down, we like to talk to athletes, get a look behind, you know, the jersey, behind the face mask. We want them to tell their story. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have an uncandid conversation. So I want to first talk about, you know, your dad and his influence, obviously, you know, with you wanting to play in the NFL. So let me ask you this. What sort of impact did your father have on you wanting to make it to the National Football League?
Yeah, huge, man. Huge, because for me, football in some way is all I've ever really known. Just growing up, obviously around it, man. He played for 13 years. My mom was a basketball player / model, but she loved football. My family has always loved it. So I saw my dad firsthand, you know, training at Gold's Gym in the off seasons in his free time. Man, just the work that he would put in training camp consistently, honestly, yearly, you know, daily. You know, his attention to what he ate, how he ate, his conditioning. I mean, there's so many things I could go into that really, I think I just understood from his perspective, secondhand, watching up until that point as a child, what it kind of took, you know, to some extent. And so obviously I've had my struggles, and some of my struggles were his struggles and some of them aren't. But, you know, he has such a huge impact on me because first and foremost, he didn't even want me to play. You know, it was one of those situations where I remember like shooting you straight growing up. Man, I didn't do nothing but swim in the pool on the weekends at the community pool. I played video games, ate cheese puffs and potato chips. Man, I was a couch kid. I didn't play any sports until literally 8th grade, which was football, which was my first sport. And the way that I was able to do that, you know, it's funny, taking you back a little bit. In 2nd grade, my mom snuck me on a team.
Really?
And I remember she snuck me on the team. We took the pictures. I probably, because my parents were divorced and they had joint custody. So 1 week with my mom, 1 week with my dad. And the weeks I'd be with my mom, she would be taking me to practice. And I remember my dad got wind of this probably about 3 games in. And man, he snapped, took me out of football. He just bought the jersey and the helmet and the shoulder pads, didn't let me return anything. And I'll never forget, they gave me double zeros was my number. And I remember he was like, how the fuck you think they gonna respect you? You got on numbers, you got double zeros on, man. You wasting your fucking time doing this shit. So he was very adamant about me and my brothers not playing it. And fast forward to 8th grade, man, I'm 6'6", I'm 450 pounds. I call him crying. I'm like, look, Dad, man, for me and what I want to be in life, I want to be in the NFL and I want to be a professional football player. I know that you've done it. And so he took me pretty much under his wing. He made me make a promise there on the phone. He said, you can't quit till you're 10 years in the league and you're a first ballot Hall of Famer. So to set that goal at that time, I thought it was extremely realistic, believe it or not. But and here I am, you know, going into, what is this, my 8th or 9th season, man. I'm so blessed with the knowledge that he's given me, or he gave me.
And accomplished at that.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
Accomplished.
Exactly.
4-time Pro Bowler, right?
Yep.
Got a lot going for yourself, man. You've built a hell of a career. And I remember when you were coming out of the draft, and this was when I was just sort of like really, really making my mark inside the Bengals community, NFL, the whole 9 yards. And I was like, the Bengals need to draft Orlando Brown Jr. And there was a lot of murmuring that, hey, they might draft him. So take me back to that really quickly.
Yep.
Everybody had you, first round pick. We all thought you were going to be a first rounder, right? We saw the slip happen. What were your emotions, right? You obviously had big dreams, big goals for yourself, and you've defied all of the naysayers, all those odds already. But what was that process like? What was that moment like, right, when you saw your name slip in the draft? How did that motivate you to move forward?
Yeah, I was very motivated, man. There was 12 guys taken before me at the tackle position at the time, and I felt like I was better than every single last one of them. And it was no disrespect to any of those dudes, but that was how I felt. And that was the tape that I had put out on that over my course of my college career. But the combine, shooting you straight, I told every team that I met with, they asked me what I was going to run in the 40. I said, I'm going to be the slowest guy here. And they were like, what is that? I was like, whatever you think that is, 5'7", 5'6", that's as fast as I ran training, which honestly, I don't even think my pro day time was any better than that. My drills, I feel like obviously could have been a lot better. The L drill, the bench press, things did not go as planned because even training up until that point, I had to hit 20 in the bench press. And so to hit 14 in the combine, biggest stage, I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up. So, that was obviously a hard pill for me to swallow. But man, I was very honest with every team. No, I told them like, look, man, this is who I am. I'm a football player. I'm not the underwear Olympics guy. I'm going to go out here and do this, but looking back on it, do I wish I didn't run? Honestly, I think it all worked out for the better for me. Getting drafted to Baltimore, fresh out of college into a familiar system in terms of the schematics, the schemes, the concepts we were running in the running pass game. I was able to come in and pretty much be ready to go as a rookie right tackle. But the combine was frustrating, man, but I also think what really saved me was my meetings with these teams. I met with, I think it was 28 teams at the time, formal and informal, and those are what really saved me, because when they put me in front of the board, they put me in front of the coaches, and they asked me to talk about my favorite play while explaining my life and write it all down, and I'm able to give them the formation, the hand signal, the concept, how we're sliding, what we're going to do, how we're going to attack the defense. I think for a lot of teams that did have interest in me after my performance at the combine, that was what held a lot of weight.
Now, I love that you brought up the combine and you discussed sort of all the emotions going through. Do you think too much stock is put into the combine a little bit?
For sure. I think a lot of people put too much into it. I think at the end of the day, there are people that truly benefit from it that didn't necessarily have the great film, that didn't play as much or were underused. I think it's definitely a ton of benefits in there for that. But there are guys like myself that come to mind, Calais Campbell, Terrell Suggs, certain guys that, I mean, the measurables on paper may not be great, but when you really get to know the person, you get to know, at the time, I say kid, for where I was at mentally, you knew and understood what I was going to be able to accomplish on this level.
For sure. I have a buddy of mine who actually same exact build to a T as you. He just came out of the draft this year from Rutgers, Holland Pierce.
Oh, yeah.
Tackle.
Yeah. Oh,
really good friend of mine. I used to train with that kid when he was 460 pounds. I saw, so when you got these players and they come out and they talk about their grind, their struggle, and how they overcame a lot. I remember when he was coming to the gym, working out with me. Almost 6 days a week, just trying to shed the weight and just seeing how far. It's funny, both of us said we would be here. And I was giving him advice because he went undrafted this year. And I said, you know what, I got to get you in contact with my dog, man. I got to get you in contact with him because he's a great dude. He wound up signing with the Philadelphia Eagles, but 6'8", 350. And I said, man, he has a similar build to Mekhi Becton too as well. And we saw what happened, in Philly there. But this is a dude that I try to tell a lot of these guys, where you're drafted or not drafted does not define you. It's about what you do when you get that opportunity.
Exactly. And I learned that from my dad, man. He came in as a rookie minicamp invitee into this league and played for 13 years, started for 12. You know what I mean? And I feel like that in itself was just such a clear example for me. Obviously, everybody want to be a first round pick.
For
Everybody
sure.
want to be a top 5, top 10.
Sure.
That wasn't the cards I was dealt. And for me, I just knew coming in as a rookie, I was going to earn the respect of my veterans. I was going to do all the little things the right way. And I was going to work my ass off. I didn't really care about where I was drafted or any of that. I knew that the opportunity was going to be there for me to be the starting right tackle, and I was going to take care of and control what I can control.
So, I got to ask you this, man. When you came to the NFL, what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Oh, shit. Man, it's funny you say that because people never expect to hear this, but I pulled around. It was probably my first start was Cam Jordan at home. I had a ton of help there, and I feel like my man Joe Flacco was at quarterback. My second start was on the road in Carolina against Julius Peppers. That was a tall task, but I attacked the hell out of it. And then my third start, I got TJ Watt one-on-one all game, played my ass off. I was out there snapping. But early in that game, like the first series, I pulled around. I think Mike Tomlin actually commented on it, talking to their media about it when it happened. But I pulled around on a toss crack, and I see Joe Hayden. It's me and him. I'm just kicking out the corner, and I see him dip low. And I'm not the best athlete, period. Damn, let alone in space at this point in time in my career. And he lit my big ass up, bro. I swear, I like he hit me right down in the middle of my chest. Man, I was seeing stars, tingling on the right side, and it was right in front of Mike Tomlin. I'll never forget. And you can't really tell on film, you know what I mean? I don't think he ended up making a play, but it was so physical for me. Like, I think that was probably the first time. Because I'm pulling. I'm like, man, it's a 5'10" corner.
Right,
what the hell?
Right.
Fuck this dude gonna do to me? Man, he hit me so hard, bro. That was like, for me, that was like a wake up call. Like, all right,
damn, it's different out here.
Yeah. I don't know if I've been caught slipping like that since.
You refuse to be.
Oh, for sure.
So I gotta ask you, man. Outside of the obvious, which we're gonna get into later, what has been your favorite moment as a pro?
Oh man, favorite moment, man. I've been a part of so many special moments. I think last year, man, that game in Denver was so cool to be a part of, where T catches that ball to win the game. That was really special. Just given the circumstances of everything I had personally been going through with my leg up until that point, it being my first game back, last home game of the year, Saturday night. That was really special. I think about some Bengal fans, man, I like this, but when my man Lamar had that crazy run here in Cincinnati in 19, that was crazy. I remember blocking Sam.
Nick Vigil.
Yeah, Nick Vigil. Yeah,
I remember that.
Hell yeah. And I'm like, I just remember turning around. I see one spin, another spin. He holding the ball out. Carlos Dunlap is chasing him. That was a special moment. And then trying to think of some other ones that were crazy. I mean, the Buffalo one in Kansas City where 13 seconds left. That whole transition was unreal. Just seeing the poise from Coach Reed, Pat Mahomes, T. Kels, Tyreek. It was just all understood. It was literally backyard football. Like, hey, we know they're going to be in this coverage. We know this was what it's going to be. We drew it up on the sideline, and I mean, it ended up working out.
Man, I'm happy that, first of all, people can't be upset, right?
Yeah.
Because you done touched on Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Kansas City, so you did the trifecta.
Yeah.
So obviously, you were with the Kansas City Chiefs after your days in Baltimore.
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit more about that, though, man.
Yeah.
You've talked and sort of elaborated on it a little bit. What led to you coming to Cincinnati? Why did you choose Cincinnati? Because when you think about it, you played for Kansas City. Cincinnati was your rival. People are trying to figure out, why did Orlando Brown choose Cincinnati? What was it about Cincinnati that made you want to come here?
Man, honestly, it was a lot of things for me up until that point, because where I was at in my career, where the Bengals were at as terms of organization, all of that kind of played into it. And so, you got Joe at quarterback, which I knew. I mean, obviously, I've been on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I don't know if he had a bad game against Kansas City when I was there.
Yeah.
So I saw that firsthand. I knew that the system, I was very familiar with where Andrew Whitworth is one of my favorites, you know what I mean, in terms of a tackle, seeing everything that he did in LA, which was a similar system to what Zach runs here. Even my man David Bakhtiari in Green Bay, I was, just looking at things from that perspective in terms of schematics and the value of the left tackle position here. And so as I was doing my evaluation, looking at the 31 other teams or 29, whatever it was, the Bengals were a team for me that made the most sense because of where I'm at in my career, what I want out of it. Our team is great. I got a great head coach.
Right.
My quarterback is really, really good. Obviously, we got elite receivers, which I've been fortunate to be on a lot of good offenses throughout my career. And so when you've got guys that can win now, like Jamar and T, I mean, that ain't gonna do nothing but make your job a little bit more easier. So, man, I really admired the Bengals from afar. And the biggest thing too, I've talked to them about this in the facility. Anytime I would play my man Trey Hendrickson, he would feel fresh. And I would be like, why the fuck is this dude, his legs are fresh come game day? And that's very rare, on a Sunday where, because I'm in the trenches and I'm feeling the rushes, I'm feeling these guys strain. And I always noticed his strain was on another level. No matter when I played him in February, January, December, February, whatever, he always had a different level of strain. And so I admired that from afar, saying, what the fuck are they doing over there in Cincinnati to where these guys are able to come out here on Sunday and be like this? And so all of those things had a big part of it.
Now, you talked about Trey, and I got to touch on that a little bit because y'all have had some good battles.
Oh yeah, it's my dog.
Why do you think he does not get the respect he deserves from a national perspective? Because when you look at it, I think he is easily right up there with the best pass rushers in the National Football League. I mean, the dude's had 17.5 sacks the last 2 seasons. Yet and still, when people talk about the elite edges in the National Football League, they talk about Myles Garrett, deservedly so. They talk about T.J. Watt, deservedly so. But I feel like Trey Hendrickson deserves to be in that conversation. I think he's proven that.
Oh, absolutely, man. But, putting it in perspective, I always think so much of this league is circumstantial, right? Like, I talk about the system that I play in, the system that Trent Williams plays in, Deion Dawkins, Jordan Mailata. We are all people that benefit from being in a great system. You know what I mean? Based off of our player profile. And so when I see Trey and what he's done, our peers know, you know what I mean? Laremy Tunsil, whoever, Trent Williams, whoever you want to name that plays at the left tackle position has played him on a Sunday. His abilities and what he's capable of. But circumstantially, our defenses haven't necessarily been up to par in totality to allow him to really, have the notoriety that Myles Garrett has on the top 5, top 10 defense, TJ Watt, top 5, top 10 defense. And so I think when we look at it from that perspective, we kind of understand, where he is. Now, you do have guys like Max Crosby who aren't necessarily on great defenses that make a ton of plays. But to me, when you really sit down and break down the game, I think the media attention more so may come from, lack of personality or whatever it may be that he doesn't have in that area that others may compensate for, like a Max Crosby, who is one of the best in the world, you know what I mean, at the DN position, but also, as somebody that, is willing to show his face and do all of those different things and playing for the Raiders as well.
I would say, me and Daniel, we got an opportunity to sit down with Trey. I think this was our first year in Cincinnati. I think he had been in Cincinnati for about a year or two at this point. And we had a conversation for about an hour. And literally, the conversation was just about God.
Yeah.
Like that's where he's the most humble.
Oh, for sure.
Respectful dude, which is why, obviously with him dealing with what he's dealing with now, I try to tell people like Trey is one of the best guys I've ever met.
Oh, hell honestly. Man. Yeah, no, he deserves. I mean, I got the utmost respect for him. You know what I mean? We take game day reps on a daily basis, man, just going after it in training camp and off season in practice and all of that. So, I mean, Trey is all right, man, a great dude, man, a great player, great teammate.
Now, you talked about, and you've mentioned this before in past interviews. Why was it so important for you to stay at left tackle, to earn that opportunity to play at left tackle? We obviously saw you at right tackle. Elite, right? I mean, best of the best. But why was it important for you to prove, number one, you could stay at left tackle, you could be a left tackle in the National Football League, and obviously Cincinnati gave that opportunity for you to be able to do it. But why was it so important for you?
Yeah, it was really important for me, man, because it's what I've always played, and something my dad always talked to me about was be better than me. Don't shoot to be a rookie minicamp invitee and make it. You go be a first round pick. You go make a Pro Bowl. You go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he always stressed those things to me. And so I always tell the story. My freshman year of high school, I'm playing freshman ball, and they were going to put me at right tackle because the player profile or lack of athleticism, however you want to put it. And I remember my dad cursed the head coach out. He's like, if you're not going to put him at left tackle, just put his ass on defense. And so I played D tackle my freshman year. You know what I mean? And from there on out, anytime I was on the O-line, it was at left tackle. And so it was just something I've always played. Something my family, it meant a lot to my family. Me playing the left tackle position, and I'm just mostly comfortable there, man.
For sure.
When I was drafted in Baltimore, they didn't know what they were necessarily going to be doing with Ronnie Stanley. So, at that time, and then he goes out the following year. He has, literally a perfect season. I think he might have had one penalty and half a sack given up. You know what I mean? And he played like the best left tackle in football and he was a first team All-Pro, I think maybe even unanimous. So I completely understood from a business standpoint why you would pay him all of that. He earned that. You know what I'm saying? So once I realized that obviously he was a long-term answer there in Baltimore, I talked to the front office there, Eric DaCosta, and, I let him know where I was at, and, we were able to work something out.
For sure. Now, one of my favorite questions I ask every person I sit down with, and it's one that I feel very fond of, is, what is your why? Yeah. What motivates Orlando Brown Jr.?
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because I was just talking to our rookies about this because Shamar actually asked me that. My thing is my why has changed so much throughout my career because, for so long, you want to get to the point where it's like, oh, I'm trying to get a second deal, and you get your second deal, or I want to make a Pro Bowl, and then you make three, So what continues to push you in? My why is centered around my family, my kids, first and foremost, man. I do so much for them in terms of similar to my dad, my parents, so that they can see, what it takes to be successful in your field. So much is centered around that. And after that, man, it's the respect. I'm in it for the respect from my peers, respect from coaches, front office execs, ownership, because, the legacy that I leave behind on this game, obviously people gonna know I was a good person and a good football player, but they gonna know I did everything with the right intent. And for me, I would tell you, my kids and respect for my peers, man, are probably at the top of my list.
For sure. Man, I love that. You give great answers, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate so you've played with Lamar Jackson. You've played with Patrick Mahomes, won a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And you've played with Joe Burrow. That's an impressive trio of quarterbacks to play with.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
What makes them all unique in their own way? What makes them the great? And for before Bills fans see this, right? Because Josh Allen could definitely be
for sure
mentioned in that group. But that's the big three in Orlando Brown's career, right?
Yeah.
What has it been like playing with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and what separates them?
Yeah, no, man. Each one of them, the unique part about my story with each one of them is I meet them all at different points in their career. I'm playing with Lamar. We come in as rookies, and I'm with him when he wins his first MVP. You know what I mean? I go to Kansas City. And I'm there, and it's Pat's second MVP and second Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And now I'm here in Cincinnati where Joe gonna win his first MVP.
I like that. Say that one more time.
Yeah, Joe gonna win his first MVP and first Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So, I to me, that's the really cool part about my journey and my story is I've met these guys at different points of crossing the bridge, within the sport, and so that's the dopest part is like me and Lamar being wet behind the ears learning, you know what I mean? And then I get to Kansas City and Pat is already extremely established. He's won a Super Bowl. He's pretty much the face of the NFL at this point. So seeing that, I'm like, damn, like this is, I learned so much there in my stint in Kansas City from Pat, just in terms of how he moved as a professional. And then obviously I get here with Joe, man. And he in his prime, and he gonna be in his prime for a long time. So, what where they all differ. Obviously, they each come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
Lamar being a Florida guy, raised by a single black mother, man. Pat coming from White House, Texas, where it's nitty gritty.
Mm-hmm.
All he knows is baseball and football. That's how he grew up. And coming here with Joe, who somewhat is a lot tougher than you think. You know what I mean? Who's a guy that's extremely cerebral, that has a different level of focus and intent than others. And that's why he's been able to separate himself, which I think hopefully that answered your question. I think that's the cool part about it.
Man, it's crazy. I'm asking you these questions. You have so much experience being in the NFL, but we're talking as if like you're like 38. You're just as young as these guys. You're around the same age as these guys.
Yeah, we all
you have so much experience, and you've been fortunate enough to play with some terrific quarterbacks, and I think that's pretty awesome. So, you've been on record saying how you want to bring a Super Bowl to help bring a Super Bowl to Cincinnati.
Oh yeah.
You and Ted are the only active members on the Bengals roster with Super Bowl rings, right? Mm-hmm. You being a starting left tackle for the Kansas City. I got to talk to you about that really quickly. Mm-hmm. What was it like, man? Hoisting that Lombardi trophy. Because I feel like a lot of Bengals fans talk about, hey, we want to win a Super Bowl, we want to win, but they don't actually know what that actually entails, and sort of the lift the city feels by actually winning a championship and bringing a championship to Cincinnati.
Man, we win the Super Bowl here. It's gonna be like when Argentina won the World Cup. Like it's gonna be people in this river hanging from all of these buildings off the side of the buildings, trying to get a good vantage point for their cameras. It's truly. Outside of having my kids, man, it's no better feeling than being able to hoist that Lombardi, man. I think, you see people cry that you wouldn't expect to cry.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the clock hit 0 and how fucking loud the confetti was. Yep. Like it was like boom, boom. And I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Yeah, it's the confetti coming out, obviously. And so, you've got that. You got the game. The game is the slowest, fastest game you're gonna play in, and probably watch too. As a fan that's deeply rooted into it, as you guys know that. A few years ago when they played the Rams, but. Man, it's such a special feeling winning it, because you set out these goals as a team. And to be able to set a goal that seems so unrealistic that 31 other teams are going to chase, and you go out and accomplish it with your brothers, man. Yeah, it's a special feeling. And so, for me, the game was awesome. The Lombardi trophy afterwards, I remember waiting on my mom, my kids, my son at the time, how special that was, man, being able to be in a moment like that, you know what I mean, with my loved ones, which was so special. And then, you go into the next 3 days, it's crazy, the airplane ride where, you on the airplane and they passing around the trophy and, dudes just hung over. I didn't sleep after we won, man. I was up probably for at least 24 hours or so. So I couldn't rest. It was just too good of a feeling, I'll be honest with you. And so, you got the airplane ride, and then my favorite part is just that window where you got exit meetings with your coaches, and it's real brief because you just won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You somewhat did enough to accomplish the ultimate goal. And then my favorite part is the parade, man. The parade is really, to me, what it's about. Being able to celebrate that moment with your coaches, front office, teammates, their family and loved ones, and then on top of that, you got the fans, you got the city. You know what I mean? Being able to throw beers at you on the trolley. You know what I mean? Being able to dap up and shake people's hands as you go through the streets, man. I can't wait to feel that feeling here in Cincinnati. It's gonna happen though.
Man, for sure. So I'm gonna ask you a question. I feel like when a lot of people sit down and they do interviews, especially with some great Bengal players, we don't really get a chance to really ask about Zac Taylor, right? Because I feel like the questions are always just surrounding you playing and the whole 9 years. But what has separated Zac Taylor from other great coaches that you have played for? What is something about Zac Taylor people from the outside looking in might not realize?
Yeah. I always make the comment in the building, man, I'll kill for Zac Taylor. He is truly he knows how to relate to his guys. Yeah. And so whatever that is, that's the Norman, Oklahoma in him, whatever it is, I don't know. He's able to relate to his guys, and you want to play for him. You want to win for him. You want to do as he says, because, it's something about him. I can't really pinpoint for you what it is. but he's such a special human being,
Mhm.
and he's very easy to talk to. He's extremely receptive, but he's an alpha male. You know what I mean? He's got this energy about him that as I said, he's gonna get the most out of you and the best out of you.
Yeah.
And so, man, I know every day that when I'm strapping on my cleats, I'm putting on my helmet. I know that his work, his focus, this is everything to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Outside of his family and his religious beliefs, this is everything to him.
For
and
sure.
so, man, it just I don't know how to pinpoint it for you. You know what I mean?
For
But
sure.
he's so special and holds such a special place in my heart because of what he's done for me in my career.
Do you guys see that fire?
Yeah.
where he seems to be he is very even keeled.
Oh yeah.
He's very even keeled always.
Yeah.
But do you guys see that fire, that passion of, hey, I want to win a championship to make you feel like, hey, Zac Taylor won out without a doubt? Because I feel like there are still Bengals fans that wonder, hey,
yeah,
do Bengals players believe Zac Taylor is the guy for the job?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And the reason that I say that is I've got the experience of being around great coaches like Coach Harbaugh and Coach Reed, who both had incredible staffs.
Yeah.
And the similarities with Zac is similar to them. That he's willing to go through the changes and evolve his system based off of his personnel and the coaches that he has. And so, you add in the schematics of that. Then you also add in how incredible of a leader he is, how awesome he is in terms of being able to script practice and put us in positions that are gonna allow us to get better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's hard to do.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of NFL coaches come in and, they're with a team for a few years and they're gone, or, they aren't able to accomplish much. It's a reason that Zac has been able to do what he's done.
Right. Now, I look at Zac and, obviously the Bengals' new offensive coordinator as of last year, Dan Pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that I speak to have said similar things about Zac Taylor, but I want to ask you about Dan Pitcher real quickly.
Oh man, yeah, no, I always make the joke too, man. I mean, Pitch is going to be one of the next great head coaches in this league. He's got it figured out, and it's pretty cool because his story is unique in terms of coming in, being a scout, a travel scout, working his way into coaching. Doing all of those things he really came up the ranks.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
And that's very rare, to get to where he is. And so, that in itself is really cool and really like special. What makes him unique, because he has these interesting perspectives on everything. And so, man, his approach on a daily as well, just attention to detail, willing to evolve, knowing personnel, putting guys in the right position, man. I think that's the thing about Pitch too. And, we're going to lose him one day because his ass going to go on and be a great head coach someday somewhere else. But, man, I mean, Pitch is really, really one of a kind. Yeah. And I'm happy. I mean, he makes my job so much easier going to work for him every day, the positions he's put me in.
All right, man. I love that. I love that. So one last football question I'm going to ask you, right? Who would you say in that locker room? Mm-hmm. It might shock people, might not shock people. Who would you say is one of the vocal leaders that we would not expect?
Gosh, man. I think Fig Newton is coming into that role as well. Fig actually gave a really nice speech, man, at the end of OTAs here, talking about togetherness, sticking together, and how important our brotherhood is. I think Fig is a name that a lot of people wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Cam Taylor, Brett. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, no, Fig a real one, man.
All right, let's get to some fun. What is your favorite hobby outside of football?
Yeah, man, I play a lot of video games. Okay. I'm always with my kids, and I play a lot of video games. What games? Really enjoy. Right, I've been on Marvel Rivals recently.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm like deeply embedded in Marvel Rivals when I'm not working out. Not watching football, not with my kids, for sure.
Okay. I didn't know where you was going with that. I thought you were about to say NBA, 2K, or
I play
Madden,
that too. I play that too, yeah. Okay. I play those two. I play 2K a little bit.
Can you hoop a little bit?
I'm not a hooper.
Yeah, okay.
Not
listen, everybody got their own strengths.
Yeah. Tennis, though. I play some tennis. Yeah.
Listen, Daniel you could play tennis.
Really, yeah.
I can't. Or pickleball tennis.
I play that too.
Same thing.
Similar, yeah.
Stuff, right? All right, so I got to ask you, brother. What's the story behind the Racoon Tail?
Yeah, man, I can't give you the explicit version all the way, but I'll tell you this. Obviously I lost my dad, my mentor Jamal Brown. In the summers when I was at Oklahoma, he played in the league for 9 years. Went to Oklahoma, All Pro, Outland Trophy, a college football Hall of Fame, all this shit. And I would go there in the summers, and I would train with him in that June break. And every Saturday we would watch like an old school movie. So there was a movie from the 80s called Breaking. And there was a guy on there that had a foxtail on his hat, on his pocket, like a bunch of foxtails. I remember asking, like, Jay, what is that? He's like, oh, that's a foxtail. So I got on eBay and I looked it up, and it was $4 on eBay. Mm-hmm. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy one. Yeah. So this is, my freshman year. So I buy one, and let's just say good things started happening, man, after I start wearing it.
Man, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering that, and I was like, okay, one of these foxtail companies need to call in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I need to start my own. Yeah, I just seen Beyonce in one.
That part, man. You're the trendsetter. You're the first person I've ever seen wear foxtail. So, all right, there's been a lot of quiet confidence. You obviously were just on ESPN First Take recently. There's been a lot of quiet confidence around the building and talk about starting fast. And it's not just you. Yeah. It's Joe talking. It's everybody. And it feels like there's a sense of belief. Honestly, I haven't seen this much confidence around a Bengals team probably since maybe the year Joe Burrow was coming off of the injury, the ACL injury, and they went on to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What makes y'all so confident about this upcoming season?
Yeah, the work's been different. The work's been different, and the intent has been different. Yeah. And I've been here. This is my third season here, and the team has never been this close. Okay. In terms of guys getting together off the field, even more. The work that we put in, the way that Joey Bose and Zach and the front office, everybody has scripted our offseason. It was more intense than it has been, and so I think the understanding of what it takes to win, like we kind of have done in that back half of the season. Yeah. Taking that intent that we have then and that sense of urgency then and applying that to the offseason. And so that's been there, man. Yeah. And so we've got guys like Joe who are better than they were last year. You know what I mean? He was coming off the wrist injury last year. Right. At this point in time, still kind of getting in his groove. He's hasn't lost it from when we got off the field last year in Pittsburgh. So he's picking up where he left off. Guys like Jamar and T are a little bit more settled now, who are both world-class athletes and hard workers. You know what I mean? So when I look at things from a football perspective, guys are as motivated as they've ever been, simply because they're more settled. You know what I mean? It's less concern on, and is this my last year here? Is there a contract? What's now guys are able to truly focus on the task at hand. And on top of that, just togetherness, man. Our team has just been so close. And for me, I think that's the biggest thing is like, man, I see that and that is what makes teams like Philadelphia last year put themselves as a team in position to win, is because togetherness. You know what I mean? Guys willing to buy in and say, man, I'm not only doing this shit for myself and my family, it's for you and your family. Right. You know what I mean? And we've built that camaraderie.
Man, I gotta ask you about your tag team partner real quick.
Yeah.
Amarius Mims.
Oh yeah, my guy.
Man, what do you see? Like, what do you project for him this year and beyond?
Yeah. I mean, man, I hate to put all the pressure on him, but I tell him all the time, he was a first round pick for a reason, top 20 pick. And so Mims has all the tools and intangibles to be great. And he was really good last year. Especially looking at who he played against in our system. He's one-on-one a lot. You know what I mean? He's pass protecting one-on-one a lot. He's going against a lot of times some of their better rushers, like to rush over to the right side in our division. He's going against them. You know what I mean? And he's having to play at a high level, and he's going out there and doing that. But man, I got high expectations for him, and nobody in the building or in this world has higher expectations for Amarius Mims than Amarius Mims. Yeah. And that's what I respect about him the most is his mindset, his approach on the daily to be able to say, no matter what happened the previous play or the day before, he's going to take the next step to get better. And the growth that he's been able to make this offseason compared to where he was at the end of the season last year is light years ahead of where he was when he ended the season in January. So, you know, and we're only in the summer right now,
Right.
you know, and going into July. So, man, I mean, I got big expectations for him, and you know, we both put a lot of pressure on ourselves within our system, man. You know, we gotta keep Joe upright. You know what I mean? Having two good bookends is normally a recipe to go out there and win a big one.
It's a recipe for a lot of success.
Oh yeah.
So I got to ask you this, man. You know, when it's all said and done, right? And you hang up the cleats, hang up the gloves. What is it that you want people to say about Orlando Brown Jr.?
Yeah. I want them to remember, you know, that I did everything with intent. You know, I showed up. You know, I worked my ass off. I practiced like it was a game. I went through walkthroughs with real intent. I was in the meeting rooms with real intent. And, you know, for me, that is what makes the great ones great, you know, and that's what people respect, you know, because ultimately, you know, from the outside looking in, we can say, yeah, Tom Brady is great because he won 7 Super Bowls. But the people that have played with him, the impact that he had on the daily with his focus and intent, with no matter what the fuck they were doing, you know what I mean? How competitive he was on the daily. You know, that's important, man. And I want to be remembered for being consistent in terms of everybody knows when I walk in the building, I'm the same guy every single day. When I'm on that practice field, the game field, I'm the same guy every single day. You can count on me. And you know, you could have counted on me, you know, during my playing career. And lastly, man, I want to be remembered, you know, as I mentioned, just respect, you know, the respect that I earned from my peers, you know, going up against guys. They know you're going to see 75 from the Cincinnati Bengals one-on-one 45 times in the game in pass protection. You know, let's see what the fuck you got. And, you know, the legacy that I leave behind, I want a lot of it to be remembered by that.
Man, you're energetic, bro.
Yeah.
You got me fired up.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
You think I could take you one-on-one?
No,
like,
I do not.
No? No, like you wouldn't like, let's say like, for instance, you play like every snap of the game. They put me in all 4th downs. I'm going up against Orlando Brown Jr. You don't think I can get
No, bro, dog. Unless my feet tied together, dog.
Man. All right, man. Listen, I try. You know, I asked T, I said, T, can I beat you in a basketball game? He said, no. I said, okay. I still think I could beat him in a basketball game. Non-contact. I think I could beat him. Non-contact, I think I could beat him. But let's talk about something real quick, brother.
Yeah.
You're involved, right? Obviously, some charitable foundations and stuff like that. You're big on the fight against diabetes. Me, myself, you know, that's a fight that I recently just took on, you know, a couple weeks ago. And it altered my life. It changed everything about how I go about my daily business. Talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. You know, for me, my family, it's affected my family greatly. My brother was diagnosed with type 1 when he was 8 years old. I was 9 at the time. My dad passed away from ketoacidosis when I was 15, which is a form of a diabetic coma. He didn't know that he had diabetes. And so, you know, that was why he, you know, sugar went high, went into a coma. Both of my grandparents passed away of type 1 diabetic complications. So although it is an autoimmune disease, you know, it is something that's had a really big impact on my family. And so, you know, there is so many things that I've done. You know, I think about a trial that I entered in when I was in Kansas City through Children's Mercy Hospital, which is a trial where they draw your blood and they're able to tell you if you have the type 1 diabetes antibodies. And so, fortunately for me, I was negative. My kids were negative. But, you know, I think about things like that for my family, my grandparents, my dad, or even my brother that, you know, we could have got ahead of it, you know, because now there's diabetic prevention, you know, medicine that's out there, you know, for if you do test positive for the antibodies, they're able to prolong it, you know what I mean? And maybe you aren't considered a type 1 diabetic till you're 27 as opposed to 13, you know what I mean? And so, man, to be a part of the research in that area to help somebody else know that they aren't alone is, I mean, it's always been important to me in that area.
Man, I respect that.
Of course.
That for sure, man. Wow. We'll have to talk more offline about that for sure. Yeah. I guess my final question for you is, brother, what is your message to Bengals fans for this upcoming season?
Yeah. Which camera do I have? Do I have this one right here?
Yep.
This is my camera.
Yep.
We're gonna win this fucking Super Bowl. So that's my message. You know what I mean? And I know that's a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, that's the goal.
Man, I love it. Orlando Brown, man. Yep. Orlando Brown. Listen, if you guys like more video content like this, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you guys never miss when we go live or upload content. And make sure you guys follow my man on social media. He's pretty active. So
yeah, I am.
I see you active all around around the community. I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you one last question, man.
Yeah, what you got?
You jumped online, but you was after a game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm about to ask you, right?
Which one?
Jackass.
Jackass. Yeah. I'll give you the background on that.
Give me
I
the
don't know if I
background real
ever
quick.
really talked about it, but
No.
yeah, we were playing Jacksonville Monday night. It was Jake's first start, I believe, and maybe a second start. I can't even remember, but I remember getting ready. I got a picture on my phone. We were getting ready, and I was in the equipment room early. I always get to the games early, and I remember they had ESPN on, and NFL Live was on, and everybody picked Jacksonville to win the game. And I just remember thinking, man, what a bunch of jackasses, bro. And I don't know, it just came out in the moment after we hit that choreographed dance. I just was like, you fucking idiots, you jackasses. Like, that was all it came from. So.
Man, that was great. That was great. I remember everybody was like, what is he talking about? Who is he talking about? What is this directed at, man? But no, I appreciate your time, brother.
Yep.
This won't be the last time you and I sit down together and talk. But man, Orlando Brown, everybody, Orlando Brown. Make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of The Sit Down.
Subscribe.